Good evening and welcome to the Strawberry Patch. We're bringing you some behind-the-scenes information so you can prepare for the West Virginia Strawberry Festival, which begins May the 10th and ends on May the 18th. With me this morning, well, it's not morning, we're in the afternoon, but we're showing you all this in the evening time. So I have Charlene. Charlene Eubank is our president this year of the West Virginia Strawberry Festival. And Charlene, you know how important it is when we have sponsors.
Yes, very
so
important.
I want to mention right now that I am so pleased to have Tennerton Auto back again this year. I think it's about 5 years now.
Really? That's
that
great,
they've been
Carol.
sponsoring the Strawberry Patch. They're right here in Tennerton, and it's owned by Joe Jeffries. They do towing, car inspection, car repair, and if you have anything wrong with your vehicle, give the Jeffries a call at 472-2174, and we thank them so much for sponsoring the Strawberry Patch. Now, on to bigger things
That's
here. What's
right.
going to happen with the Strawberry Festival?
Well, Carol, we have lots of new things on the horizon this year. A lot of things I know you've talked about last week with Robbie, but I'm going to go over a few things that are some changes so that way everybody's fully aware. One major change is we are moving our coronation and opening ceremonies to the first Saturday, May 10th, instead of waiting till Wednesday. So the opening ceremonies will actually be at noon, and they're going to be held at Jawbone Park this year, which is also a change. And the reason we have moved them to Jawbone Park, as all of you know, you need to get out and vote. And early voting is still going on May 10th, with the election being the 13th. So we have moved everything away from the courthouse to give them more opportunity for those people to be able to get in there and vote.
Well, that's important.
It is. So we're going to be at Jawbone at noon, as I said, on the 10th. And then also that day, we're going to have some open case performances on Main Street. We are also going to have the CEOs are going to be on Main Street, and they're going to be selling some baked goods and strawberry items and other things. And then we're going to have some trick riding happening, and we're not quite exactly sure where that's going to happen yet, but it will be somewhere in town.
He was here last year.
Yes, and he did a great job.
Very good. A lot of people came to watch.
Yes, they did. And then another thing that's going to be, then that afternoon, we're going to have our horse and carriage parade, which this will be our third year for that.
And it's 1 hour earlier, right?
Correct. And part of the reason for moving it back an hour is that way we have a little bit more time when the parade's over to get everything ready, since the coronation is that evening also at 7 o'clock. And if we had it at 5, it would kind of be pushing that time frame. So we thought we'd move it back to 4.
To 4 o'clock.
Don't you think that works a little better?
I think it will, and that just gives a whole day of activities with a Western flair.
Exactly.
So
That's
put on
what I
your
thought.
Jeans and your fancy hat that you can do, a cowboy hat, and come to town and have a good day. And much of that is free. We have horse and buggy rides,
yes,
too.
we do. Oh, that's right. But yeah, that'll be a really nice addition.
And I think that's going to be in the same location as last year. And if I can mention it, I can't think of the folks who did it, but they had a beautiful carriage and beautiful white horses.
Yes.
And they work with a special camp.
Nice.
And all the money they raise, and it's donations to ride, so that goes back to their camp.
Oh, that's perfect.
So that's another thing that the Strawberry Festival does, is provide opportunities for organizations to make a little fundraising efforts for what they're doing, and much of it's to give back to our community.
That's right.
So I interrupted you. Go on.
Well, that's pretty much fills in our Saturday.
You talked about the coronation at 7. Not at 7.
Yes,
the coronation's
at 7.
That's right. And where is it going to be?
Well, the coronation actually has moved as well. The coronation is going to be at Chapel Hill United Methodist Church this year, and as everyone knows, it's always been in the chapel. We would like it to be in the chapel, but we have a little bit of scheduling problems this year. Everything seems to be moved around between us, and also we had a lot of snow this year, which you know, so therefore the high school actually had to move their prom. And when they moved their prom, they moved it to May 10th. And with it being May 10th and it's being held at the college this year, we thought we'd have a lot of problems with parking and everything else. So we thought it was a good idea to try moving it somewhere else.
It'll be pretty at Chapel Hill.
It'll be gorgeous.
And
really
what is
will.
the theme? Old traditions and new beginnings.
So if we're going to do it, this is the year to change it.
Right.
And, hopefully maybe next year we'll be back at the chapel. But, we'll try it this year. And I think it's going to work out well.
The parking is going to be a lot easier for folks. And there's handicap accessibility to get in there, so it'll be nice. And that's another freebie.
That's right.
We have a reception afterwards.
We do.
In Ingle Hall. So
Yes.
people can come take in the coronation and go to the reception and meet the royalty.
That's right. And our new royalty this year, we actually had our pageant last month, and it was on March 22nd. And we chose our new teen queen, actually is from right here in Buchanan. Her name is Courtney Trader, and she's 14. And she was actually the youngest child, the youngest girl in the pageant this year.
She was adorable.
She really was. And, she looked just like a teenager right up there on the stage. And that's what I really liked.
Me too.
I think she's going to do a wonderful job, and being from Buchanan's going to, it'll be nice for the people in the community to know there's somebody at the royalty that's from here. And then our queen this year is actually from Charleston. And she's 22, and she goes to the University of Charleston, and her name is Nicole Natasha Green. And she actually was here last year representing the West Virginia Association of Fairs and Festivals as their queen, and she was very much impressed with how the Strawberry Festivals run, how welcoming we were. She even attended the President's reception last year and really enjoyed everything. And she told us then that she was going to be back this year. And she's back, and now she's our queen. So she will be the queen-elect. She did a great job. And I think she will do a good job representing us. She's already done some things in the past couple weeks. Like, she was an MC of a pageant. She's been judging some pageants. She's been doing some volunteering around Charleston. Banner, her sash on. Of course, she doesn't have a crown yet.
That's good publicity for the festival, because a lot of times the southern part of the state is not aware of all the things we have.
Exactly. So, that'll help. And then our king this year, king-elect, which actually is also our 2013 king, will be Steve Butler. And Steve's from French Creek, so again, he's right here locally, and he has some great strawberry production and some great methods that you might want to talk to him about sometime, but he's going to do a good job as well.
He did last year, and Steve is a strawberry grower, and that's why he became king, not because he is involved with Strawberry Festival, but they judge that on who has the most berries and so forth. So I'm looking forward to him again.
I am too.
He has a lot of good time with with all
he
of
does.
the folks. So that takes care of and they will be crowned.
Yes, they're going to be crowned at 7:00 on May 10th at Chapel Hill.
Okay. So that
as of right now, as of right now, unless something changes, we will actually have Department of Agriculture. Our commissioner, Walt Helmick, will be crowning the king. And the governor is supposed to be crowning the queen. If something comes up and he does not make it, Governor Tomlin, then Commissioner Helmick is going to do both for us.
And, while we're talking about Commissioner Helmick, he is very, very interested in strawberry growing. So can you explain just a little bit of what they're going to do this year?
Yeah, actually what's going to happen, we actually have someone from the commissioner's office who's going to be in town Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and they're going to have a tent right at the courthouse, and that tent is going to be giving out information on how to increase your strawberry production. If you know nothing about growing strawberries, how you can grow strawberries, whether it's through raised beds, whether it's through hydrotunnels, anything you want to know about raising strawberries, they're going to be there to give you some information. They're going to be talking to you about money that's available to help with that starting process.
I think that's a real plus
very
for
excited.
us. Yeah, I am too.
Very excited
about that. And of course, the strawberry growers will bring in berries. Hopefully, we have had such a bad winter, but the way they grow berries anymore, they can do it just about whenever they need to.
Well, and you know what, Carol? I actually was talking to somebody the other day. Do you remember Roger Nestor?
Yes.
Okay. His son actually, and his grandsons, they have strawberries ready. They're going to be at the festival.
Good.
So I do know we're going to have some. And he said he's talked to some other growers, and we're going to have a lot more. But I got a phone call from him the other day, making sure time frames and making sure they knew, because they've got some berries ready.
Oh, that's awesome. And since we're talking about that, just tell everybody when the strawberry auction will be.
The strawberry auction is actually going to be on Friday at 4:00. And that day is actually full of things. Friday the 16th, sorry.
Yeah.
And that day is actually full of things that are at the courthouse. That you can come, bring your lawn chair, sit there most of the day. We've got some music going on. We have the sweetest berry contest, which is always fun.
Yes.
And we have immediately following the berries, we're actually going to be auctioning off the CEO baskets. which is also a great.
After the auction? Yeah.
Yes, and then we're also going to be auctioning off. We have 3 chefs that will be part of the recipe judging.
I think we're going to have 4.
Really? That's
so we
exciting.
might have 4 desserts.
Good.
Take them home with you for your company.
And those chefs will actually prepare a strawberry dessert, and those desserts will be auctioned off. And we're going to find out who the best chef is.
Now it's exciting. You could just keep on talking for
You
hours
could.
about all the things that are going on. And Robbie and I talked about this last year. You can't do it without volunteers.
You cannot.
You can't do it without sponsors
No.
who very generously give of their time and their money.
They do.
And I didn't mention last year, but we take in kind sponsors.
Yes,
there
we
might
do.
be something the festival needs. You don't have a lot of extra money, but you might have the supplies
Exactly.
that we need. So we do in kind, and we talked about membership.
Right.
So those are some of the ways that folks can participate with their funding to help us have more. And our goal is to have a family event for all ages at the least cost possible.
Yeah, exactly.
So what else are we going to have?
Well, one thing that I really wanted to talk about that's not happening, I've got a few more things that are happening Festival Week that I wanted to talk about, and I'll hit some of those first, but then I also want to talk about the Queen's Ball today, if we can do that.
Sure.
Okay, but one thing we're definitely doing this year that's also new, and I think it's going to bring some people in town that maybe haven't been into town during the week. They typically only come in on Saturdays. We're actually going to have a cruise in this year.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
I am very excited. And it's going to be on Wednesday evening, and the cars are going to start coming to town about 5 o'clock, thereabouts. And they're going to try to get them all in by 6 or 6:30. And we're going to have, with our vendors this year, they're actually going to be almost in a semicircle or horseshoe shape, and there's going to be a stage in the middle. And that stage is going to feature a band that night. And since it is a cruise in, we're kind of bringing in a 50s, 60s band, and it's Ryan Kane and the Abels. And they're going to be down there performing music till about 10 o'clock that night. And everybody can come downtown, walk around, check out the cars. All free, listen to the music.
Of course, if they want to get something from the
Right.
vendors,
That
would be
that
a
would
cost,
help
but
them out, but-
I'm understanding through Gary Cannell, who's working
Right.
on this food court, that we're going to have some new vendors this year
are.
with some really exciting foods.
We are. I'm excited about that too. And I mean, he's just told us all that he's bringing some new people in. So we're all just going to have to get down there and try them out, see how, and hopefully they'll like us and be back. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, I like the idea of the midway because it's almost like the carnival's going to wander down through Spring Street, and we'll have the food vendors, we'll have entertainment, on Main Street on Friday and Saturday night, the cruise in on Wednesday night, and of course we have the parade on Thursday night with gospel. That's all free.
That's right. And Thursday night, he's bringing a band in Thursday too after the parade. So we're going to have, live music 4 full nights.
That's awesome.
Nobody else does that. No, I mean, we are going to bring the people in just to see. And I know some other fairs and festivals have 4 or 5 nights of entertainment, but you're paying for that. We're bringing it all in for free. We want you to come downtown, hang out with us, hang out with the vendors, hang out with those bands.
And carnival.
The carnival, talk to your friends, things you don't get to do all the time.
Well, I would also put a plug in, and we will talk to Deborah Wilson, but with the Strawberry Idol, that's become a big thing. It
has.
And it starts on Thursday night at 8:30 with the gospel. Friday night's open class at 8:30, and now the time on Saturday has changed. It will be at 7.
Correct.
But people come with their lawn chairs. They sit through the whole thing.
Do.
And if they want to get up and wander down the street, they can do that. And we will have, I think there's some vendors that are going to be maybe some of our local ones, local nonprofit organizations who will be maybe down around Main Street or along the parade route.
They will.
So we encourage you to support them as well.
I agree.
Tell us about the Queen's Ball. That's new.
Yes. Well, we've had the Queen's Ball the last couple years, but it's new in the respect that this year we kind of moved it back a little bit because the last couple years we've tried having it that first weekend. Well, with us moving the opening ceremonies and coronation, which we already talked about, to that first weekend, we thought that's a long day.
It is.
It's a very long day. Well, we have our golf challenge that was happening on April 27th. So we thought, maybe we could bring some families in, the wives of the people that want to golf. If we do something on that Saturday night. So Saturday, April 26th, which is only a few weeks away, we're actually going to be having a Queen's Ball. And it's going to be held at the Buchanan Moose Lodge, and it's from 9 to midnight. and our doors are going to open at 8:30 that night, and it's going to be $12 a ticket and $20 a couple, and you're going to come in, and it's a Stone Street band. They're from Charleston.
And there's finger foods.
There's finger foods. We're going to have all kinds of, hors d'oeuvre type ideas and fruits and desserts and just all kinds of finger foods that are going to be available all evening. And if, it's just going to be a really good time and a nice.
Something special's happening that night. We're giving an award.
We're actually a couple things that we've changed around a little bit. Things that we typically have given out at the pageants that we decided this year, if it is old traditions and new beginnings, let's change some of those things up and give people other reasons to come to some of our other events and bring some people in. So we're giving 2 of our big awards there and one of them is actually, we're going to announce who this year's Strawberry Spirit will be, and we're also going to announce who the theme winner was. The person who actually won. And,
we talked about that last week, and we weren't sure who it was.
Yes.
So we'll do a release in the paper, too.
Right. And, they're going to be there. Hopefully their families will be there. And to see their names announced and them announced, and let them talk a little bit maybe about how this theme came about. And with the Spirit, this person, how our Spirit is chosen is with the board each year. We kind of brainstorm some people, groups, anything that we think have really given to the Strawberry Festival. And then after we have those nominations, we do a vote. And the board of directors knows at this point who our Strawberry Spirit is. No one else knows. And so everyone will find out that night, right, Carol?
Right, and a very deserving individual.
It is. It is a very deserving individual. And I've actually been working with this person's family very closely in this endeavor, and they're very excited, and they're hoping to, some of them are hoping to be here.
Well, it's quite an honor when
it
you take,
is.
And usually a Spirit Award winner is someone who has worked not just once, not just twice, but for a period of years. And we've had some very neat people who won. And occasionally we will break over and do it for an organization, or the Lions.
Yes,
the Lions Club did it because they began the Strawberry Festival. So the 50th, we honored the Lions Club. The City of Buchanan.
I was going to say City of Park.
College has.
Exactly.
So, and we couldn't put this festival on, folks, without the City of Buchanan's cooperation and the cooperation of West Virginia Wesleyan.
I agree. I totally agree.
And one of the things that Robbie and I talked about last week was this idea that you shared with the folks. We are a small town.
We are.
So there are a lot of things going on all the time, and we have to learn to share the different facilities that are used, because we don't have a whole lot of space. When we get the new center that's hooked up with the Armory, that's going to make a big difference.
Exactly.
There's going to be more space for people to have large events.
Hopefully we'll be able to utilize some of that space from our events.
I hope so too.
Because I think that would be nice to be able to venture outside our little confines we have right now.
And the Strawberry Festival it's housed here,
right?
But it's a West Virginia festival.
I agree.
We encourage everybody to go out and to talk it up and to put it on the calendar and say, hey, this is a way to showcase one of the coolest small towns.
That's right.
we were announced as top 3.
Top 3. I think that's wonderful. I was very excited.
So, let's show off Buchanan. Let's show off Upshur County. Come to West Virginia for the West Virginia Strawberry Festival. And we have some neat groups coming in this year.
We do.
It's a little early maybe to announce some of these, because with the bad winter we've had, especially the high school bands, they've missed so much school.
I know.
They're just now deciding whether or not they can travel. But it's looking better every day.
Good.
So I'm excited about, and some of the ones that are real popular and the special units that come in, some of them are coming back, and they'll be venturing out to Main Street to do a little entertaining. And the Band Fest, that's another change this year. We talked about that, the fact that we have a field exhibition at Wesleyan College at Ross Stadium. We can't do that this year because they're going to redo the field. And so we have moved that as a band fest, and that's what you will see it announced. It'll be at the Performing Arts Center at 5:30 on that same evening as you would have the field exhibition. So I'm encouraging people to wait for our programs, because hopefully that schedule's going to be pretty correct in it.
I
And
hope
the
so,
newspaper.
Carol.
I hope so too.
I hope so. I don't foresee any more changes.
Well, I hope not, because
I mean, and you know as well as I do, something could happen in the next few weeks. But I think we're pretty sound right now.
I'll tell you what, it's been a harrowing experience this year, because not everybody has been able to get out to meetings because of the snow.
Exactly.
I'm one of them, and it's hard to make decisions.
It is.
With your board of 21
Right.
people who are voting and 5 others.
Yes.
And you have to have them each work on an event, and we have to make some decisions as a group. So it's been a little taxing this year,
has.
and I think you've done a good job
Well,
of
thank
trying
you.
to keep us all together. And how long have you worked with the festival?
Well, Carol, I actually, on and off, went way back in 97. Actually, when Gary Cannell was president, I was a hostess princess that year. And Melanie Stemple at that point was who took care of all the royalty. And, she saw how much because I loved working like the junior royalty pageant. And she asked if I'd like to come back and help with that stuff. So I started helping with the junior royalty. Then I eventually, I did some of the holiday balls with Tracy Sheets when she was on the board. And one of the years, the first year I was helping with that, I had some people ask me, hey, would you like, actually Carol was one of them who asked me, and Jane Smith, and, some of the people who used to be, Barb Rager, some of those people who knew me, but also, and things I'd already helped with, started talking to me about being on the board. And, at that point, I kind of felt like I was a little young, because at that point, I actually was a senior in college, whenever this all started happening. But my first official year being on the board was actually 99. 2 years after I was hostess princess.
It gets in your blood.
It does. And, there was one year that I was off the board, and I just had some family things that I needed to take care of, and I did help come festival time, but I actually was not a board member. I was just a committee member one year.
And that's important,
And I just felt I needed to do that. I just lost my grandmother, and she, and it was right at that, I was up for re-election, but yet I knew I needed family obligations at that point.
We all have to, I've been there forever, I think. But I left for a while because I had to take care of my mother.
Right.
And sometimes family has to come first.
It does.
But, we're a family, too.
And we are.
And
we really are.
We hurt when one of us is hurt, or when we lose family members. There's everybody comes around and helps. So, it's an important thing to try to be supportive of one another, and we love volunteers.
We do.
We could use some. And also, one of the things that we talked about at our last meeting was convertibles.
Yes, we definitely can use convertibles. If you have a convertible and you would like to drive through the parade, we really need people for Saturday. We do need a couple convertibles for Thursday and Friday as well, but Saturday is the big thing we're looking at.
And we have VIPs that come in.
Oh, yes. So, and we'd like to have a nice vehicle for them to ride in.
Right. And we have some floats. That's another thing. If even if you have an organization that would like to build one,
that's right.
That would be a nice thing to include into our festival. And if you have concerns, if you have questions, the office number is 304-472-9036. We're not always in the office, but the office phone is managed. So once you call, leave your name, your phone number, and what person would be the folks that you need to talk to in whatever event you're wanting to help with or have questions with. So you need to leave a little information.
Yes.
Don't just call and say, hey, I want to know this, and they don't know how to go back to you. So we need that phone number so we can call you back. And you will be called back, maybe not in that hour, but within the next day.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, we're manning that phone right now. I'm trying to, I have another board member who's checking it. I'm checking it. And so usually it's within a day or so that we're getting back to people. The only way is if you specifically have a question and that person might not be able to, they're not available that particular day. Maybe they're in a meeting, they're out of town,
Right.
whatever. It might be a day or so, but if it's something I can answer for you, I'm calling you back that day.
And I understand from Gary Cannell that the vendors
They're full.
are full.
They
so
are
that's
full.
exciting. And you'll want to take in this midway
Yes.
and the food court. It's going to be really special this year.
I
I'm
agree.
excited.
I am very
he'll
excited.
be here and talk a little
Good.
bit about it. And I think Michael Livesey is working with him, and he's working on some special things for the strawberry party gras that we have on Friday
Yes.
and Saturday night, and that's from 9 to midnight.
9 to midnight, both
And of course,
nights.
we've got Strawberry Idol going on, and it's just going to be a time of festivities and homecomings.
That's right.
Those party gras are so nice to bring you cultural music, but also it's a time you can be at one end of town and see some folks and go to the other end of the town and they'll be there talking to somebody.
Yes.
So it's a visiting time,
It is.
catching up with old friends
Yes.
and families. So that's part of it, and it's a family event with children's events, senior events. And we'll be putting some more articles in the newspapers. You'll see some things here on Channel 3 as well. They're going to put something, I
Yeah.
think, about the Queen's Ball.
Good.
And you want to tell folks one last time about the golf challenge, if they're interested in that, who they can contact.
Yes, actually, the golf challenge is going to be held on April 27th. And if you want, we would love to have as much participation as we can. It's actually going to be held at Riverbend, and as far as I know, unless something changes, they're also going to be using the country club because they're going to split the time. You'll either have your first 9 at the country club or your first 9 at Riverbend, and then you'll switch.
Usually it starts at Riverbend.
Right. But I mean, that's how it's going to work. And Steve Holland is he's running it again this year for us. And he was on the board up until this year, but he's agreed that he is going to take care of. And I don't want to officially announce who the sponsor is because we're waiting for the final paperwork, but we do have a major sponsor for that,
Good.
and it is a good sponsor, and it's not somebody that you would typically see or think of seeing at a golf, but I think it'll be good and something
that's
different.
exciting. And we urge all of the businesses. Robbie explained that last week. We're going to do some little things different this year with sponsors. So if you don't have a big amount you can
That's
share,
right.
$100 will get your name on a banner.
Yep.
$250 might get you on television.
That's right.
So, now's the time to start participating. And we also want all the folks out there to come and enjoy the festival. It's for you.
It is.
It's to celebrate our community and to celebrate that wonderful strawberry that we eat in so
I
many
know.
different ways. Can't wait.
Me either.
And we're also going to try to get some things on the recipes. We have some winners from last year. I'm hoping
Good.
to get those in the paper.
That'd be
Because
great.
there's some good recipes to
There
try
are.
for festivals. So,
Exactly.
that's about all the time we have today for Strawberry Patch, but I appreciate you coming and sharing.
Thank you.
And, please feel free to call 304-472-9036 or go to our website at www.wvstrawberryfestival.com. Those are 2 ways, and you can find out more about the festival, applications, and so forth. So we're going to come back again next week. Thanks to Tennerton Auto here in Tennerton. And again, if you need to call Tennerton Auto, 304-472-2174 and ask for Joe Jeffries, or his wife works there. And
Yes.
they're both very nice
They
and
are.
very
They're great.
helpful in trying to help you with the needs of your car. So we want to thank them for sponsoring the Strawberry Patch. You have a nice evening, and we'll see you again next week.